This vertical jump technique is called maintaining hip level, and the point of this is to make sure we're not producing counter forces into our jump. We don't want to have to produce force down, overcome that just to jump up, right? So it would be an ideal scenario if we had no counter forces down that our muscles now have to absorb, and we can just have nice smooth takeoff upwards without having to go down first. So let me show you what I mean by that. On a 2 foot, we're gonna go over 2 foot and 1 foot, but just for my 2 foot jumper so you have a visual, what I'm talking about, what we don't wanna do is if we're trying to go up and jump up, we don't want to dip down, because what that's gonna do, that's gonna take gravity and amplify it, and we're going to produce that force. Then our muscles have to overcome all of that plus our body weight to jump up. And for my 1 foot jumpers, that would look like diving forward just to go up, right? So we wanna maintain our hip level and stay low so that we're just popping upwards and not down to go up. So a visual of exactly what that looks like for my 2 foot jumpers, maintaining our hip level. I want you, it's not like you're full crouch mode, but I want you to think you're like a stealthy tiger. You're getting a little bit low and you're maintaining that hip level, jumping and then going up. So if you look at it from a side view, it's not like your hips go down to go up. It kind of just maintains that straight line. Same thing for my 1 foot. But I'll show you 2 foot exactly what I mean. You're gonna be coming in, your hips are already low, staying at the same pace, staying at the same exact height. For my 1 foot, it's gonna look like this, where we keep our hip level. We don't want to dive down, because that's over. We have a lot of things that we have to overcome right there. So I'm gonna give you a full jump on 2 foot and 1 foot to explain what I'm talking about. So we're here, maintaining that hip level. Good, and my hips, same height the whole time. Same height the whole time for my 1 foot jumpers. We're same height and jumping straight up. Now for my 1 foot jumpers, I want you guys to pay close attention to this right leg. On that penultimate stride, on that last step, I have a lot of knee bend in this, a lot of knee bend to set myself up low. If we didn't have that knee bend, we'd be high, and then we'd have to go low. So by keeping that right leg, and I'm gonna show you a video example of this on the screen, staying low so that we use that block foot to only head upwards, okay? Again, I'm gonna show you guys video examples of that. But basically the concept is if we're trying to go vertical, we don't want any competing forces in the opposite direction. So we're just trying to keep it as smooth as possible and make it as easy on our muscles, our tendons, our joints, in order to produce all of that horizontal force and translate it upwards, okay? So that's the maintaining hip level drill for my 1 foot and 2 foot jumpers. Here's a drill that you guys can do to make sure that you're maintaining that hip level throughout your approach. I want you guys to set up a camera, tripod, whatever you gotta do, of a wide angle of the side view of your approach, and then you're gonna track your hip level, okay? So watch, I'm gonna show you right here. So first I'm gonna show you guys what not to do. Again, an approach that dips our hip level is gonna look like this. We're here, we're staying high, and then we're dipping down into our jump. I want it to be close to a straight line, okay? So we should be in that crouching, and then jumping straight up. That way we're maintaining that same hip level. So your guys' action step is to make sure you film one of these videos and either draw on top of the image or just track your hip level throughout the video. And that way we can make sure that we're maintaining proper hip level throughout our approach. Now we're gonna go over the trailing center of mass jump technique for both my 2 and my 1 foot jumpers. The concept is the same. If we just think about our approach jump, we're coming in with horizontal energy, horizontal speed, horizontal momentum. And what we're trying to do, what we're attempting to do is break that speed very quickly to translate it upwards, right? We don't want to slow down into our approach. We don't want to turn it into a standing vertical. We want to use that speed to gain even more height. So how do we do that? We need both our plant foot, which is that first foot I'm a right-left jumper, so my right leg will be my plant leg, and then we have that block foot, or that block leg, which is that final ground contact. We want both of these brakes, I'm gonna consider them brakes like a car. We want both of these brakes to be applied ahead of our center of mass. So obviously, can't show you, I'll show you on a wall, literally want both of those feet ahead of our center of mass. Most of my center of mass is going to be back here. If I have these brakes, now I have that counter force to send upward. But if I didn't have those brakes ahead and I had them under me like they're here, there's no brake to stop that horizontal momentum, so I'm gonna blow through my takeoff. So that's what it looks like for our 2-foot jumpers. Our 1-foot jumpers, what that looks like is we want to, ideally, we only have one brake on our 1-foot jump, obviously, and that's gonna be if you're a left foot single leg jumper like I am, it's gonna be our block foot right here. We want that ahead. You see how my chest is back? I'm looking where I wanna jump, either at the vertex or the rim or the net. And we want to produce that brake force before the center of mass crosses over that brake. In other words, once we put that foot ahead of our center of mass, we want to absorb and produce that force fast. So this leg is literally gonna be super, super stiff. The stiffer we can create this leg is going to be crucial in order to jump higher off of one leg, rather than having it leak energy. We don't want to see a lot of knee bend because now I'm traveling forward, my horizontal, and now I'm producing force. That's going to send me outwards. Okay, so I'm just going to give an example for my 2-foot jumpers. So this is what not to do. You don't want to do this for my 2-foot jumpers. This is where I don't get the brakes ahead of me. So my 2-foot jumpers, you might come in too fast, you're planting, and then you're completely blowing through your takeoff. So this is what I want you to do for my 2-foot jumpers. 2-foot jumpers, we're gonna get those brakes ahead. We're gonna slowly accelerate into our jump ahead, and that way we applied the brakes ahead and we were able to jump almost straight up and down vertical, because that's where we wanna go. For my 1-foot jumpers, since we only have one brake because it's a single leg jump, there's always going to be some horizontal drift, and that's okay. But this is what a bad rep would look like, where we just get no brake force at all, where we're just coming in way too fast and we're completely drifting through because that foot landed underneath us. We came with so much speed that we produced force outwards. So this is what I want you to do for my single leg jumpers. Maybe take a little bit less speed, coming in, and that's ahead of you now, so that you didn't come in with so much speed that you had to blow through it. Sometimes it's a matter of tweaking the speed. Sometimes it's a matter of your body's ability to create stiffness, which we'll be working on inside of the gym in our training sessions and our workouts. So there's a couple different ways we accomplish that, but that's the basic concept between how to keep the center of mass behind our brakes. And that is the trailing center of mass jump technique for my 1-foot and 2-foot jumpers. All right guys, here's a drill that you can do to make sure that you have your center of mass trailing your block foot. And I want you guys to practice shortening your approach. So let's say you have your match approach vertical is like a 7-step approach, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want you guys to take it easy, go 3-step, go a 5-step. That way we're gonna bring less speed, less momentum, and it'll allow you to get into that proper position. So you might be starting it with just like a 3 or 4-step, right? Right there, good. And that way you're gonna be able to focus on the intricacies of that final position that we wanna be in, right? That trailing center of mass. That's how it's gonna look for my 2-foot jumpers. And for my 1-foot jumpers, just the same. We're here, and now we're just taking a shorter approach. Making that simple tweak and adding that to your training can really help with getting yourself in that right position and make sure that you have a trailing center of mass. I'm gonna give you guys some secret sauce right here. So this vertical jump technique is called arm swing force production direction, and we're gonna be working on the direction in which we're producing momentum and force from our arm swing and our knee drive for both 2-foot and 1-foot jumpers. So for my 2-foot jumpers, we don't have the knee drive because we're using both of our legs, so it's gonna be in the arms only. And you hear often, you know, produce force from the arm swing, aggressive arm swing, and that's true. But what tends to happen here, and this is where I've never heard this jump technique discussed anywhere else before. When people say aggressive arm swing, what ends up happening is that And that might seem great on paper, but what we're actually doing is producing force that way. But we're not trying to go that way. We're trying to go up, right? So instead of aggressive out and a little chaotic and out of control, and we're not thinking about it, now we're thinking produce an aggressive arm swing upward. So it's gonna look transferring from that to that. You see the big difference right there? One more time. So this would be just an aggressive arm swing, just thinking about it. We're producing force. You can literally feel your body being pulled that way compared to upward. So getting that full extension and accelerating your arms all the way upwards. Now you're gonna change the trajectory of the force you're actually producing and the momentum you're producing of your arms just by focusing that way. That's going to translate to a higher jump. For my 1 foot jumpers, we actually get the knee drive. So we get our arms and the knees involved. So again, you just say, oh, aggressive arm swing, aggressive knee punch. What ends up happening? That, knees out. You see where? Out. Arms out, that way. What's the difference? What do I want you to do? Knees up. Knee upwards where we want to go. Arm swing upwards. So I'm going to show you a good rep and a bad rep. I'm going to start with my 2 foot jumpers. 2 foot jumpers, we're going to get that arm swing out that way. And where you produce this force is where your jump's going to go. Then I'm going to do it the correct way for my 2 foot jumpers. Produce the force upwards. Here. That way we get much less drift, much more momentum upwards. Now, for my 1 foot jumpers, this is gonna be the incorrect way where we're just going aggressively but not thinking about it. We're here, so much travel, not translating enough of it vertical, compared to now thinking straight up and down. We're gonna go there, much less drift, so much more height. It's going to literally add inches to your vertical jump instantly. So that is the concept behind the arm swing and knee drive force production direction jump technique for both my 2 foot and 1 foot jumpers. All right, guys, we're gonna go over a couple drills in order to make sure that we're producing the force with our arm swing and our knee punch in that right direction, okay? For my 1 foot jumpers, we're gonna get in this band and we're gonna do band resisted knee drive punches. Okay, so we're gonna get into our 1 foot jump position. Good, exploding the arms and the knee. Last one. Good, and I'm focusing on producing that force upwards as opposed to just punching out and forward, okay? Upwards. All right, now we're gonna go to a different drill. So we're gonna start with my 2 foot jumpers. So here we're gonna go up against a wall and we're gonna do our right, left. We're gonna get in position. We're gonna lean back, keeping our center of mass back. And I'm exploding my arms up. Good, and this way we do it up against a wall because if we're doing it out, our hands are gonna hit the wall. And this is really gonna teach us to fully extend and get our biceps up to our ears. Last one. Good, now we can do the same thing with my 1 foot jumpers. Here, let's see, we're gonna get into our jump stance and then we're punching. Again, notice how I'm not punching into the wall, arms aren't going forward, but really focusing on going up. You can even move a little closer. Last one. Good. Just a simple way to pattern the correct movement of up compared to outwards. Very small detail, but very important, okay? So that's your action step. I want you to do those drills, and then you can start to bring it into your full approach. In your next training, you'll be coming along with me while I use some of these techniques and some of my other tips and drills to instantly increase a college basketball player's vertical jump in just 20 minutes of world record jump training on the Vertec. I hope you guys found this valuable. See you guys then.